Hi, welcome to Unleash Your Tennis. In today's lesson, I'm going to share with you some great tennis tips to help you overcome the anxiety during your service games, especially during big points. Are you ready? Let's dive into today's lesson. One of the reasons why tennis players feel anxious and causing them to have anxiety during their service games is that they are too focused on the outcome. Alright, they carry different mental scripts in their head. For example, if they are facing a weaker opponent, alright, after a long battle, they may tell themselves, oh, I must definitely win this player, alright, I'm better than him. And then suddenly, the tension starts to creep in and they have problem closing out the match with their service games. Another kind of mental script is that they are facing a stronger opponent and they are facing a situation that they are leading and in fact they might be serving out the game, serving out the match, and they can't believe it. They don't have the confidence to close the game. And then suddenly they feel tight, they feel tense and they can't win because they don't believe in themselves. So what I'm going to share with you is some tips that you can use during training, right, to prepare yourself for matches, and some useful and effective tips that you can use during matches. Alright, so let's dive into it right now. The first thing I want you to do during your training is to focus on developing a solid second serve. And preferably, you should have a good kick serve or slice serve as your second serve. The reasons are very simple. Number one, when you have a good second serve, you will definitely feel more confident about your first serve because you know that you have a good second serve to back you up. So during your first serve, you can go ahead and serve a flat serve. Alright, go ahead and try a fast, powerful flat serve on your opponent. And if the first serve is the fault, you know that you have a great second serve to back you up. The second reason is that when you have a good second serve, you know that your opponent can't hurt you in your second serve. Many recreational players tend to just pop the second serve over and waiting to be crushed. So the key thing here is during your training, focus on developing a solid second serve in your overall service games. The next thing that you can do during training is to practice different scenarios during the match. Alright, what I meant is when I'm practicing for my serve, I want to practice different scenarios. For example, I can practice when I'm up 40-15. Alright, I have a game point, alright, at 40-15, and I practice serving at this point. Alright, I can also practice when I'm down at break point at 30-40, for example. So I need to practice with this scenario that I'm down 30-40. Alright, so all these situations and scenarios will help me to prepare when the real situation is there. Alright, and it is very important that you practice during training, alright, so that you keep yourself mentally prepared in the real situation. Another good scenario to practice is when you are serving out for the match. Alright, you're actually winning, you are leading. Alright, you're leading 5-4 and you want to serve out in this match. Alright, so practice serving out at 5-4. Alright, starting from love all, you practice. Alright, imagine that you are in this situation where you are going to win. Alright, because many players tend to feel pressured when they are serving for the match. And a lot of players can't close the match because of this pressure. Alright, so practice different match scenarios during your practice games, during your serve practice, and I'm sure you can handle it during the real match situations. The next thing that you can do is actually to play more practice matches. Alright, now if you are a club player, alright, I want you to schedule as many matches as possible and play with different players. Alright, the more important thing is to clock the match experience so that when you are participating in a tournament, in a competition, alright, you have the experience that you have been through it, you have played with many different kinds of players, and you are ready for the competition. Alright, So I want you to schedule as many practice matches as possible and play as much as you can, right? Clock as much game experience as you can, right? I'm sure during the real situation, when there's stakes involved in competition, you can handle it well. The next thing to do is to improve your overall fitness. Alright, too many times I've seen players who struggle to close out the match because they were too tired. Alright, so start to improve your overall fitness, right? Improve your strength, flexibility, and your speed. Alright, these are the critical areas that you need in your tennis game. Alright, so once you feel fit overall, and in fact if you are fitter than your opponent, then the chances of winning the match is so much higher. Right? So start planning about your fitness now, and I'm sure you can do well in match situations. Develop a positive mindset. Alright, now, before you enter the match, I want you to have a few sets of words that you can use so that during the match, you can use it to lift up yourself. Alright, what I meant is, some players tend to be too negative. For example, if they serve a double fault, right, which will happen anyway, and they will use negative words like, "Oh, come on, Joel, you're so hopeless," right, and you will put yourself down in a match just like that. So rather than saying you are hopeless, alright, I want you to focus on the next point. Alright, whenever you have a double fault, just focus on the next point, next serve. And tell yourself, alright, Joel, let's do this. Alright, put more spin on the first serve and see how it goes. Alright, have some positive keywords to remind yourself, to lift yourself up. Alright, if you serve an ace, or if you serve a solid second serve, celebrate in your heart. Alright, give yourself credit for doing that. Alright, so develop a positive mindset when you enter the match, and eliminate those negative terms from your head from now on. Alright, now I'm going to discuss the things that you can do during a match. Alright, during a service game in a match. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the strategy. Alright, when you are in a service game, alright, I want you to have a strategy against the opponent. Alright, a typical strategy could be, alright, I'm going to serve maybe 80% to his backhand because I know that he has a weak backhand. Alright, so have a strategy in mind during your service game. Alright, and that's the first thing that I need to do. Once you have a strategy in mind, the next thing is, I want you to have the performance mindset, alright, in a match, and not the how-to mindset. Alright, now let me explain. During training sessions, you are tackling the how-to part. Alright, you are learning the serve technique. Alright, you are fine-tuning the serve. Alright, you are practicing serving different targets. Alright, you are developing the first serve and second serve. Those are the how-tos, and they are tackled during training sessions. In a match situations, you have to have the performance mindset. That means when you're out here playing a match, you have to perform to the task. You have to execute the strategy. So if my strategy is to serve 80% to his backhand, alright, I'm going to focus on executing this task of serving to his backhand. Alright, and that's my target. So all the how-to has been tackled during training. During match time is the performance now. Alright, so bear in mind, during match play, it's about the performance mindset. The next thing I want you to do is to focus on the things that you can do during a service game. Right? Now, during the game, you might be feeling tight, you might be feeling nervous. Right? There are certain things you can't control. For example, the weather, the opponent, you can't control these things. But there are certain things that you can control. Right? For example, you can take a deep breath. Alright, these are the things that you can control to help you relax. Alright, you can shake the hands a little bit. Alright, move the feet. Alright, you see a lot of pros players doing that before the serve, just to loosen up. Alright, and have a routine for every serve. For example, for me, I need to bounce the ball 5 times before I serve. Alright, so you have a routine that keeps you calm and in control. Alright, so focus on the things that you can do during a service game. I'm sure they can help you to overcome the anxiety in big points.